A bully is someone who doesn't make you feel good about yourself. I knew what a bully was long before I knew I could become one. Growing up, bullies were easy to identify. They were the kids who shoved you in the hallway, mocked you in front of your friends, or made you feel small for no reason at all. By the time I was 10 years old, I could have written a list of every bully in my life. I knew their names. I knew their voices. I knew exactly how they made me feel. What I never considered was that I could make someone else feel that same way. That realization came on Christmas morning in 1974. In our house, Christmas followed a sacred order. First came the stockings, then came the gifts from Santa. Before any of that, though, we rolled dice to see who opened their stocking first. That year, I rolled the lowest number. I went last. I didn't really care. I was too excited to think much about it anyway. My older sister went first. She reached into her stocking and pulled out a Barbie doll, a deck of cards, jacks, and some colorful hair ties. My other sister went next and found markers, socks, a deck of cards, and a shiny new hairbrush. Then my brother dug into his stocking and came out with a cap gun, a train whistle, a magnifying glass, and a matchbox car. Every gift made me more excited for my turn. Finally, my mother handed me my stocking. I smiled and reached inside. The first thing I felt was hard and cold. I pulled it out, a lump of coal. The room got quiet. I reached back in. Another lump of coal, then a third. My excitement vanished instantly. I stared at the coal in disbelief. My face burned hot with embarrassment and anger. "What is this?" I snapped. Nobody answered. I stormed away from the Christmas tree, marched into the kitchen, and threw myself into a chair at the table. "I hate you all! I hate Santa!" I yelled, before burying my face in my arms. I sat there crying, feeling sorry for myself, convinced I had been humiliated for no reason. A few moments later, my mother quietly pulled out the chair beside me and sat down. She didn't scold me. She didn't laugh. She simply asked, "What did you do to deserve 3 lumps of coal?" "I don't know," I muttered. She nodded slowly. "Well," she said calmly, "I'll sit here with you while we figure it out." For a few minutes, she said nothing, just letting me sit in my anger and confusion. Then she spoke softly. "I think I know one of them. Remember when you threw that rock at your brother's head?" I looked up immediately. "Yeah," I said, "but I didn't mean to hit him, and I apologized." My mother nodded again. "Do you remember how you apologized?" I thought about it for a second. Then I said, "I told him I was sorry, but he got in the way." The silence that followed felt enormous. Suddenly, I heard my own words the way everyone else must have heard them. That wasn't an apology. That was blame. That was cruelty disguised as humor. That was bullying. I immediately got up from the table, walked over to my brother, and apologized again. This time, there were no excuses, no jokes, no blame. Just a 10-year-old boy asking sincerely for forgiveness. When I came back to the table, 2 lumps of coal remained. My mother sat quietly again, thinking. A few minutes later, she said, "I think I know another one. Remember when your sister fell down and cut her chin and you laughed at her while she was hurt?" I sighed. "Yeah, but it was funny, and I apologized." Again, my mother asked, "Do you remember how you apologized?" I answered before I could stop myself. I said I was sorry, and that I was glad it wasn't me. Again, silence. Again, realization. I hadn't comforted my sister. I had made her feel worse. I walked over to her immediately and apologized again, this time sincerely. from the heart. When I returned to the kitchen table, one lump of coal remained. This last one took longer. My mother sat there quietly, studying me while I stared at the final piece of coal sitting at the bottom of my stocking. Finally, she smiled gently and said, "I think I know." I looked up. "Remember when everyone wanted Burger King, but you wanted McDonald's?" I groaned immediately. "Yeah. And remember what happened?" "We had soup for dinner," I muttered. "And did you apologize afterward?" "Yes." She tilted her head slightly. "Do you remember how?" I swallowed hard. "Yeah," I whispered. "I said I was sorry, and that now everyone got soup." This time the silence was unbearable, because this time I understood something bigger. Every apology I had given wasn't really about making things right. It was about protecting myself, avoiding blame, winning the moment. I suddenly realized something painful. I was the person making other people feel bad. I was the bully, not all the time, not intentionally, but enough. And that realization broke me. I walked into the living room with tears running down my face and apologized to everyone again, truly apologized. No excuses, no clever remarks, no turning the blame back on someone else, just honesty, just remorse, just to myself, realizing that words can hurt people long after the moment has passed. When I finally returned to the kitchen table, the coal was gone. In its place sat another stocking. This one was full. Across the front, written in marker, were the words, "Mr. Hout,